On to Rollup 36 introduction, another cool rollup which we have in the pipeline, which our R&D department contributed and created, and really created cool new features and fixes and smaller improvements as well. And we are really happy to show you it to you for the first time, so you can test it till this is published. So what we are doing today is we are showing you the Rollup 36 as an HR manager, and really give you a hands-on look at what is new, what is happening, and what you can expect from the newest Rollup, which, by the way, will be published at the end of May. For that, we request that you go to your partner center and download this Rollup 36, which right now has RC status, and help us testing it so that when we publish it end of May, we can really have a solid Rollup which is benefiting all of you and all of your customers as well. As always, each Rollup we take a deep dive in one of our modules and try to improve it and try to create new functionality focused on that very module in there. This Rollup, we focused on recruiting. Bharat, who is here with me and will show you the recruiting part, will show you the Broadbean integrations. A Broadbean integration which all of you are waiting for a long time since the deprecation of talent. Why? Because we are finally able to also publish again on LinkedIn, and the benefit is because we are using Broadbean as a multi-poster, we are able to publish not only to LinkedIn but to 2,500 job boards around the world, and with a lot of specification in there. We have a hiring team which is helping you to share applications in there, and also get to have feedback not only by the supervisor, but getting really feedback from a bigger group of people who are part of the hiring process. We have changes in the recruiting portal, and one of the biggest changes which we are having is we have stability improvements in the D365 HR integration. Really looking forward to show you what we done that, and we have minor improvements which we also want to show. But the biggest part which we like to show to you is the recruiting part, and this is what we are planning to do with you in the next hour, maybe a bit longer. Let's see. Please, at any point in time, feel free to ask all your questions, either with chat. We are monitoring the chat and we will answer them right away, or just unmute yourself, ask the question right away, and we will get you the answer immediately. Not in the focus, but always included in every Rollup. I will read out all the solved customer tickets, the product bugs which we had in the previous Rollups, and we'll get to you. As you are used to Vera being here with me to introduce that, I found myself a new colleague. It's not a new colleague. Bharat is with us 6 years now, really qualified and great consultant. Love to have him in team. And also I love that he is supporting me today with the introduction of Rollup 36. And with no further ado, please, Bharat, show us the Broadbean integration.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take over the screen control or presentation. Okay, good day to you all. So first time I'm presenting. I don't have a teleprompter in front of me, so the script is mine. So if there are any mistakes, please bear with me. So today, like we mentioned before, the focus for RU36 is recruiting, right? Because we have massive features that's coming in. It's gonna be a really large improvement and new features that has been introduced to RU36. So currently you're seeing a screen from the older version, which is how it used to be. And then when I present the new system to you with 36, you would see a massive difference, and what you can do within 36 is mind-blowing, right? Here, for all the employees who have seen the current or the previous Rollup, or the ones who haven't seen it before because they have new employees, what I did is, for your benefit, I have a system that is open, which is the current version. No, not the current version, it's 35. And then I will present what is coming up new. You can see the difference, right? If I directly start presenting the new features, you wouldn't understand. So previously, you can have a vacancy that you can post it to a website. So the website is the portal. So I have a vacancy here, and I have the publishing channels. Currently, we can publish to a portal, that is a Microsoft product, and Stepstone and Zing. My question to my management was why we are not integrating to more recruiting channels. It is it's difficult, and we have to interact with every job board out there to publish the jobs to the different recruiting channels. So there was a simpler answer to this, but it's just we waited until 36. Things were in the back burner. We were working together on the product level to integrate to something that is really big, which can actually interact with job boards across the world with thousands of recruiting portals. So with the new feature, you would see new controls that you can use where you can then publish to multiple channels, right? So currently you don't see that in this particular screen. Also, what you won't see is this is a vacancy which I can publish to my portal. The applicant is visiting the portal and they are responding to that, which will directly be listed under applications, right? There's no change there. But what you wouldn't see is that how can I then nurture my application? Who is involved in this process? You really have to go and add new steps, and there are no control on if there's a panel interview where you want to collaborate with your team members, there is no possibility there, right? Now with 36, if that's a possibility, so what I would present today is how you can use this broadbean integration to post to multiple channels. And then when you have the applications coming in, you can even collaborate with your team members, right? So quickly, I will close these windows. This is the older version. And now that's the new version. So as a preparation, I have already a vacancy which is catering to this requirement. I even have it on the portal with all these new changes. So you can immediately see that you have a new vacancy that is being created. I have enabled hiring team, which means that when an application is coming in, I can define who will be interacting with the applications. And most importantly, I have the broadbean. Okay. So this is where I can actually prepare the vacancy and then I can post it to multiple channels. So I will show you in the next steps how we can get here and how we can then use this broadbean as a platform to publish to various recruiting channels or to the job boards out there. Okay, right. So what I have is, if I go back to my vacancy, I have a couple of vacancies which I have already posted account manager to my portal. And now I would like to publish the project manager to the portal as well as to the broadbean, right? Where I can integrate and then I can publish to multiple channels. So vacancies. I will focus only on the required fields. That is for you, it's important that we can publish to the channels that I mentioned. So I want to use the new features. I will first enable the hiring team. I can then add more team members later. Also, not to forget, I have to go to the details. I have to place the portal URL here, which means that when somebody is actually applying through Broadbean, through these different channels, they can come through the portal and then you can get the applications in the system. Okay. Quickly, what I would want to do is first
sorry,
focus
wait.
on.
Was there a question? It was really. I heard something.
I think it was a disturbance from somebody's line.
Okay.
Okay, so
sorry,
here,
Bharat, please go ahead.
yeah. So first focus is Broadbean, right? So what I did is from the external job boards validation. So I need to know what is required for a successful publishing to Broadbean. So I'm currently validating this particular control that I can see what is required for me to publish to Broadbean. So I can use this feature and I can it shows that there are required fields which I have to fill to fulfill that I can then publish to the Broadbean to the platform. So I'll quickly fill what is required for this vacancy. It should be in euros. I will choose one of the existing job industries. It doesn't matter, but it will feed into Broadbean. Doesn't matter in the sense it'll still feed into Broadbean. Job type, permanent, and salary frequency. I'll keep it as month. Sorry, and then let me save this. Okay. And this is what is required, but you still have to publish it, right? We have to tell the system that, okay, I would like to use some of these recruiting channels there. I can then post my job to these options. So I can still move these my vacancy to the publishing step. You can do it in first step. You can do it in the fourth stage. Okay, I'll keep it in the publishing stage. So this is when I can actually choose, okay, this is where I'm going to post it to the internal people or to external. So I'll choose internal and external, which means that the employees can also see the listing from their self-service login, and also whatever I'm choosing now, they can also get to the external candidates or the applicants out there can view it. Okay, let's save it. And I'm going to start the, before doing this, I want to do the website and Broadbean too. So website is a portal. I have it open there, and Broadbean is, you will see in a few seconds what happens, right? Now it's currently, okay, it says it's failed. Job location, okay, there's another required field for my successful publishing. Yeah, this is something that I was told that I have to fill the job location before I publish. Okay, but we will add it to the validation. That's something that we'll work on. Okay, so I want to show you another feature, so I will use multiple locations in this case. Also, I will choose the multi-location possibility. This is a new feature, by the way, where you can select a job location, just one, or you can have also multiple locations listed in the vacancy. So I'm going to quickly add all the possibilities in here. So I have this project manager in different cities. Okay, it's getting listed there. Okay, now hopefully I have filled everything that is required. I'll go back to my publishing, try again. Okay, once published, I just give a few seconds, the screen loads automatically, and you can see the Broadbean tab is already added to the screen. Okay, so that's the interface. It's an iframe interface that's Broadbean has given us from the vacancy. Now I can start posting to different channels. So in this particular system, I don't have a subscription to LinkedIn, or I don't have the possibilities for the different job boards, but I just took a screenshot on how it would look like when you have a subscription. So it's from one of the presentations done by Broadbean. You can see that the same screen, you can now see all the possibilities. If you have subscription to LinkedIn, Monster, any job board that you have, you will see that in the list. So very similar to this, you would see all the subscriptions. Then I can then say, okay, all sites below. In my case, it's just one. I can only post it to Broadbean just for the showcase. Then I press on continue. So in your case, you would have the job boards, which you can enable and then continue. Okay, this is a feature, this is a setting from Broadbean, and everything is then mapped from my job. Everything is there from the job profile, it's feeding into my vacancy. Okay, and then give a location again. So it took the URL from my vacancy. So this is where the apply URL will be inserted into these different job boards, and they'll be routed through the portal, right?
May I ask 2 different questions real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Armin here from Incubit.
Hi, Armin.
Thank you so far. So the first question was, you chose just right directly. Right now you chose the location as Berlin, Germany, but right before you chose multiple locations. Where's the difference?
Yeah. So this I can clarify how it will work with the different job boards, but the multiple location is the next feature that is actually feeding into my to my portal. So this multiple location is kind of another feature which might not work with Broadbean, is what we see right now, because Broadbean is encouraging per location you have to enter, and it is clearly not mapped. I can check with my product team why it's not being mapped currently. And this is the first release, so you would see new features, new improvements in the next updates to come, but this is a working model. You can still go with, let's say if the multiple location is not working with Broadbean, you can go with single location and still post it onto the different job boards. Keep in mind that all the job boards, they don't really encourage multiple locations, so they only process one location per posting. But what we are doing in the new update is that we are supporting portal, that it can actually you can show different locations, and the application or the applicants can see that the job is open in different locations.
Okay, thanks for that one. That was definitely sufficient. The second question was, I've seen a rich text editor right there on the Broadbean tab. Is it, oh, Holger is nodding. Is it possible to insert also templates from each customers regarding their CI?
I doubt, because we are still sending the text into in an HTML format with all the editing, but it's actually not showing in Broadbean. They're just taking the text out of it and they are using that. Holger, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'd like to add something there. For the Broadbean integration, there we have to distinguish between 2 parts. First, what we deliver as a vacancy only, meaning each vacancy which you are publishing, we are publishing the content or pushing the content in HTML to Broadbean. Part of the HTML can be, of course, a template, because this is completely based on what you have filled in the job advertising anyway. So this is already template based, because our job profiles are basically the templates of the vacancy itself. And of course, you can add pictures in there, you can add fonts in there, colors, etc., so that you can make it CI based. The second one is, of course, Broadbean is a service on its own, and it is connecting it to the different profiles and pushing it to the different profile it created on the individual job boards. And there are job boards who allow more CI than others. If you think about LinkedIn, they force you to, at least a certain extent, to use a LinkedIn CI and only have it inserted in a certain way. All of this can be added in the LinkedIn directly, in Broadbean directly, when you are setting up the accounts into Broadbean, so that you allow them to publish on your behalf, because that is what they are doing. They're publishing it on your behalf with your user, with your subscription on the individual job boards which they have in there. And of course, CI is depending on the job board Broadbean is trying to publish it, but the content itself of the vacancy itself is already in HTML coming from us, and is already template based in the job profiles anyway.
Okay. So that's also, thank you for the answer. For me, just to summarize it real quick, I can partially do template-based job postings, but when it comes to having just, let's say let's give it a best practice with a happy path itself. I have 3 job portals and they don't have any limitations when it comes to CI of the job posting.
Great.
And we have those 3 job portals. We include them to Broadbean. We do like the whole thing in the rich text editor, like adding some pictures, whatever, and then we post it up, and this would work. But if we want to do it multiply, like with different vacancies, let's say I'd like to post like 3 to 5 to 4 vacancies in the next couple of hours, and on all these 3 job portals, I won't be able to just use the same framework as an HTML, because I'm not able to insert a basic template and then just fulfill all the information, content, and so on.
You will have the basic content already in the job profiles, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and when this is not depending on our Rollup or so, but if you are creating a vacancy based on a job profile, you just have to fill 3 fields, which is number of vacancies, job profiles, and department. That's all.
Yeah,
and then it is pulling anything, including the HTML text, so the template from the job profile anyway. So you have a template functionality, and you can, with filling 3 fields, the ones on the left right here, it is pulling it anyway from the job profiles, and you can publish it right away. And so your example, publishing 5 different vacancies to Broadbean inside of 5 minutes, is absolutely possible if you created the job profiles in advance.
Okay.
Yep.
Understood. Thank you.
So while you spoke, I tried this. So I just went back and changed the HTML to have a header that was in red. So it is taking the HTML editing. So the first time when I actually used the main job profile, I didn't have any coloring or any using the toolbar from HTML, but I just went back and updated the job profile to red, and it's actually taking that. So it is, you can of course insert images, and it should populate that image there. So which means that the job profile is a template. You can do your templating. You can have your toolbar work there, and that is actually feeding into Broadbean. But from there, what happens when it reaches the actual job board is something, again, it depends on what the job board is actually requesting the Broadbean and what is possible there. Whether you can show images within the text, or can you show colors that you're using here. It's up to how the actual job board is requesting those information from Broadbean. So this is outside currently our testing, in fact. So you can see how it will work out when you post it to the different job boards. Okay.
But thank you, Armin. Great question. I think it helped a lot of us in this call to see this whole workflow on how it is structured, coming from job profiles, going to vacancy, and publishing it on the different job boards. Thank you for that.
Yeah, welcome in that case, but also thank you to you.
Yeah, so this is the feature, because I cannot show you the publishing part on the different recruiting channels. So you saw how quickly you can now start posting to Broadbean. There might be many questions on how to set up and other things, which we will not focus today, because this is the HR's point of view, how you can, when you see the system which is already configured, how you can use it. So what I did is I went to the vacancy which I would like to publish. I validated the Broadbean just to see what are the required fields. I filled it in. So the second time I even chose single location because it was not supporting the multi-location. So I just went with single location, all the required fields, and then I was able to quickly, within seconds, post to Broadbean, right? So the Broadbean tab itself is a session. So this will be, I think, will be throwing you an error for now, but it's actually not an error. You have to visit the actual website they provide you. So that's the URL. You can go there and see how your vacancies are performing, and where you can then control whether to pull it out of some job boards or keep it live on certain recruiting channels, right? So that's all done from the Broadbean platform. But again, these improvements will come in future, but it's again a working model which you can take to the market, and the end users, your customers, can start using it. So that's the Broadbean integration. So it's a massive step towards publishing to different recruiting channels. Like I said, if there are technical questions, you can write to Holger and me after the next days. Yeah, definitely we can give you all the answers that is required. So the next is I would like to show the portal changes, and then and also about the hiring team, right? How you can then involve multiple people when a new application is into the system. So let's do that. Currently, I have a vacancy. This is the one that I posted onto the website. So what I'm going to do is I have enabled the hiring team. You can see that it's enabled. It's a new feature in 36. You wouldn't find that in the existing versions. And I have hiring team table that is already there. So, and what I have done is if I go to the settings, there's a new table, hiring team members. Now I can add the users who usually participate in different steps of the application process. So the application process, usually the first few steps are validation. So if somebody is validating mainly from the recruiting team. And then when it comes to the phone interview and face-to-face interview, this is when you actually collaborate with your line managers or with your other team members, right? Now I have 3 test users in the system: employee, supervisor, and manager, the HR manager. And I have given some tasks to them that, okay, if an application comes in, uh, the employee, let's say my team member who is doing the telephonic interview, would then be notified, will be giving a feedback on that application. The HR manager type of user will be involved in both telephonic and face-to-face. And I want the line manager to be part of the face-to-face interview when the applicant is interacting with the HR team and with the employee, of course. So depending on who is doing that interview. So I have these team members already allocated, what they will do, at which point they will be notified and be part of the application process. So this is a new table, new setting. And I'm going to go back to, let's see, quick feedback. Okay, this is the feedback once they give it. And I'm going to go back to my vacancy. Okay, just see if we can get the recent. That would be the one. All right, so now I have defined my users, what will be their role in the application, but I have to now add those users into this particular vacancy, because some vacancies I don't need my employee to be giving feedback. So for this vacancy, I'm just going to involve my line manager and the hiring manager or the HR manager. So I'm going to quickly choose supervisor. Required for both. And I'd also need my HR manager. In this case, only the face-to-face interview. Okay, that's these 2 stages. You have within the application, not here. In the application, there are 2 stages they will be getting involved. But I'm defining that in the vacancy. Now, that is the team members. I will show you how they will give feedback once we have a new application made towards this project manager. There are new features that I would show you that is actually showing up on the portal. So that quickly we can talk about that and then go to the portal, cover that bit, and then we can come back and in fact do an application from there and show this team members how they get giving feedback to the incoming application. So before that, I would like to, okay, this is currently published, so it's fine. And the other new feature, of course, is the multi-location. So for this particular vacancy, I am actually would like to post it for multiple locations. So what I have done is I just did some testing. So I chose multiple location. I created a location called multiple location. So what I did is I just went to so it's called the training in this second providers. In fact, it's missing in this list. Defense. It's missing the sitemap all of a sudden. Okay, let's go back to the settings. locations. Yeah, I think it was previously called training locations. Now it's been moved to the HR settings. So I have all the locations and even have a multiple location as a new record in there. So if I want to use the portal functionality where, let's say, the customer is not interested in Broadbean, but is still used to would like to post the vacancy onto the portal where they want to show that, okay, this particular vacancy is available for multiple locations. So I have added a location called multiple locations and also the different locations that are possible where this vacancy can be listed for. So I'll go back to my vacancy. Okay, details, and that's what I have done. The main location is I want to show on the portal that is available everywhere. It's like multiple locations. And I also have added the cities where it will be shown on the vacancy itself that it's available in 7 different cities, right? So that's done. And a few more things is that previously when you have a vacancy posted onto the portal, it always follows the same image pattern, right? So if you start from the first page, it has a banner. If you click on it, it shows another image and then it goes on, but it doesn't change depending on the vacancy itself. So there was a request that how it would be nice that without the web designing, you can show different images depending on the vacancy itself. So we thought, okay, we'll try this out. In the new update, there's a feature which you can actually use to do this differentiation that, okay, for project manager, I really want to showcase something that is very specific to that particular vacancy. How to do that? Quickly go to, let me get my bearing site. So it is in the job advertisement section. So I can attach an image which will be shown only for this vacancy on the vacancy details form. So how to enable this? I'll go back to my settings page. So there's a new table called portal image. And I have a new theme called a theme project management. So I have attached an image. I don't know how it will turn out. Let's see in the portal, and also have a title color. So it can be taken from internet. You have this HTML color coding. So the title of the vacancy will be shown in different colors. If you want to show it in red, blue, green, it's up to you. So that is this particular control here. So this is there. It's just a record. I have created this. I have an image that I have uploaded. Now I'm going back to this vacancy of mine. And I will link that theme into this particular lookup field. Okay, it should be this one here. Okay, done. One more new feature before we go to the portal is that if I click on details, I have the recruiting contact details. So what I have done is I have Veronica Williams, an employee, also a recruiter. So her image can be shown on the portal. So I'll show you quickly how it is currently maintained. Okay, if I go to her employee file and click on HR details, so you can see an external facing image that you can maintain. So this is the image that can be used on the portal. So this will not for everyone, of course, for the recruiters, you can have this public image and that will be shown on the portal. And it's up to you whether you want to add that to the vacancy. But for this particular vacancy, I have added it. So now it's all there. Let's see if we can see that on the portal real time. So that's the one that is already I did for testing, but I want to show you if also it worked on our particular vacancy. That's a project manager. Okay, that's the one. Fingers crossed. Wow. So the image that I used, it's currently seen on this particular vacancy. I can also see the locations. There are multiple locations. So it's just a table insert on the form. The applicant can see that, okay, the location is multiple location. And as they scroll down, the image of that recruiter is also seen on the vacancy, right? So that's the very quick view on the form. But let's quickly go back to the home page to see how else can they actually filter. So I did the multiple locations on the main field because it's a lookup field, which is shown here. But I can still filter if there are like hundreds of vacancies. I'm only interested in Frankfurt, and then just go and filter it out. So I only have project manager. So I think I would use the product like this, that the main field is showing multiple locations, but you still maintain the table where then the applicant can search for locations, depending on the preferred location that they have. So they don't have to search, okay, which vacancy out of this entire list is actually in Frankfurt. So I'm going to go to the project manager vacancy. So I can see that, okay, there are multiple locations, of course. And I can control this image as a recruiter. This is targeted to the project manager. You can see title, it's kind of currently purplish blue. That's also controlled from the portal image table that I showed you before. Okay, as I scroll down, everything is standard from the last roll-up. Nothing has changed except for this. This is the recruiter along with the image. So there is no need for any web designing. It's all done with the from the portal, from the system, and a little bit of flow that we use, which just quickly shows on the portal form. Okay, now I'm going to use this apply for this job option, and there's some problem. So I'm going to use a different browser. I was signed on before. Just sign out. Okay, I'm going to try again. Okay, now who can think of any other name very quickly?
Bruce Wayne is beautiful.
Thank you.
Great choice.
Just go back in years so that they're not a minor applying for a job. Okay, email address. No other required fields. I just want to continue. So in this particular form, it's still the same from 35. Of course, there were new features we remember from 2 rollup updates before. So we have the option for the applicant to have their own account. Okay. So here there's a new field for them to select. They cannot select multiple, unfortunately. They have to say their topmost what they would like to, which location they would like to apply for. So I'm just choosing Frankfurt there. You can select LinkedIn. Okay, can start in June. No other required fields. Just want to continue there. And also I will attach quickly an image or sorry, a PDF document. Go have something here and submit. I have the skill rating enabled for this. So let's see if also I'm asked to enter the skills that is required. It's already creating the application. So the applicant is there in the system, application is there. Now I have to enrich my application with skills. Okay, so let me rate conflict. This is an existing feature, but I just want to show you in the system. Once the hiring team is there, they can give feedback. Okay, that's done. Next. Okay, I want to create an account now, just finish it without creating an account. So going back, you see the applications, Bruce Wayne should be there. There he is, and let's open this application. Okay, So there's a new application is there. Everything is standard at this point, but you can see that team members it's pulled from the vacancy, right? Just the whole process is now waiting for the stage to enter telephonic and face-to-face. Then that's when these users will be notified. The application will be shared with them, and they can then do the feedback for this application. So let's see what happens when the stage moves into this step. The test system, I can't really show the email that is going out, but actually, trust me, there's an email and sharing happens with these two users. At this point, they don't have access to the application because they might be a normal employee in the system. So with the sharing and assigning, we take care that they see the record when it actually moves into the telephonic interview. Okay, just want to move it also to face-to-face, so it creates these multiple records for us. Okay. Now, at this point, I'll go to the feedback and wait for a few seconds. You can see that's already created. I only did that the supervisor is involved in all the steps, that is both telephonic and face-to-face. HR manager is involved only in face-to-face interview. So I want to quickly open this record. Not me in the sense it's actually done by the user. And now they can give a feedback on the application. What can they see already from this? They can see the skill levels that was actually given by the applicant. They can get to access the document, and now they can give a good feedback. They have also the access to applicant information, and now I can simply rate, give a feedback. Say yes, and now I have to submit. And do the same thing for the other records too. I can do it on behalf of the users, but in reality, the user themselves are giving the rating. This is the supervisor, just like that.
While you're doing that, let me point out that this form will be shared with the hiring team member. And this can be an employee, but you see on the right-hand side, they have only this add-end functionality. So what we did is we made sure that they get access to this new entity, which is called hiring team feedback, but they don't get access, and this is GDPR related to the actual applicant or application data. So they don't see that. They only see what we are sharing with them on this very entity. So we created a new entity, a new table, and we have lookups and quick views in there, but they are not actually getting access to the application or the applicants themselves, so they can't contact them on a personal level or whatsoever. This is making it easier for all of our security model by having this in an extra entity and just make stuff visible on this new entity without having to share the original tables where this is come from. So, Bart, I bought you some time.
Yeah, so I'm kind of finished the rating here. So on the application now, the users who you want the feedback from, they've already given the feedback. So previously, if you remember, they had to just give a one-liner feedback. Now they can see more. So they can get to see the skill. They can give a 5-point rating. So they can give also comment on why they're giving that rating. And this will help the recruiter to move the application forward and also go into the final contracting stage. So this is something like it's very flexible because like we mentioned, it doesn't have to be somebody with good levels of permissions. It is all handled by workflows that once the stage is entered, we look into the user and then we provide them the ownership because they can view only what they can. It's a kind of a user level permission. If I go back to the feedback, you can see that the process actually ran and the ownership is with the user who is actually giving a feedback for the applicant. So like we said, once the applicant and application is through this GDPR process, if we deactivate those, so within that time period, everything is gone. So if you, this will become like anonymous, and so that the document will be going away. All the user is left with is their own feedback. So there are no trail, they cannot go back and check the applicant information. So this way we are taking care that the GDPR problems are also handled through this, right? So that's the complete feature set. I think I have covered everything from end to end. So we have a nice story that you can have the Broadbean, which is really, really big. You can post to multiple recruiting channels, different job boards. Everybody's landing onto the portal. You can control the portal better. You can communicate to the portal better with nice designs per vacancy, and also you can show your recruiter image there. Everything without customizing. You can see everything is standard. I was able to just do with configuration. Of course, Broadbean integration, you need more details on a technical level. So this is something that we will not cover today, but we'll keep the lines open for you. You can communicate with Holger or myself to get these questions answered. So at this point, I would hand it over back to Holger, and thank you for participating in this little session on recruiting.
Yeah, before we go on, I quickly recap what we have seen. We saw the Broadbean integration, how we have now a new recruiting channel and potentially multiple more because it's connected to thousands of job boards. We showed you the authentication in there and how to publish actually on vacancy forms. We went on showing you the hiring team, where we created a new table actually for the hiring team members, for the feedback, and for the selection on the vacancy, and how this is copied on every application so that you can handle quickly and GDPR conform all the hiring team members and feedbacks which we are getting from people who are involved in the hiring process, but not necessarily have to carry a security role high enough, like an HR manager, for example. Other supervisors and employees can now be a part of a hiring team without having to have an extra license and without having to have broader and more global security privileges. And we showed you on how quick it is actually to add hiring team members to the vacancy. In the user story, Bharat showed you that we are now capable on having multiple locations on the vacancy and how to filter them on the portal. The recruiting contact details are automatically populated, including the fields, actually including the two screenshots, pictures, which you can add either for the hiring manager as well as for the portal image up top, the banner. And that is now end user can do this without having to go to the IT department and have it, well, configured by them or by you as a partner. Moving on, another big picture. Another big feature which we are having is the D365 HR integration. The D365 HR integration is not new. Some of you already work with that. You know it is working, but we here and there had problems with the integration. It was completely based on plugin, and there was no real relationship between the records on the D365 HR side and the records on our side in the Hubdrive solution. What we did now is we are connecting both records also on a physical level, meaning we created some lookups that is creating direct relationship between both ends. But before I go into it, let's talk about what is actually the D365 integration. In the middle on the Power Platform, you see the sales module, the marketing module, as well as our modules, recruiting, HR management, talent manager, all the other modules which we are having in there, which give you the full benefit of the Hubdrive solution in there. We are completely based on Microsoft Dynamics CRM or the Power Platform. And as you are aware, we are also based on the Dataverse. Microsoft's Dynamics 365 for HR is located on the Finance and Operations, or AX, platform over here, together with project operations, supply chain management, benefit management, commerce, and finance itself. So the challenges which we're having is, or what you're trying to deliver for customers who are using both solutions on the aisle, is that they don't have to move data from one end to the other. So a worker on their end with an employment term should be an employee immediately. For example, that they are capable on using our recruiting module, and at the moment we are hiring an applicant, it becomes an employee on our side, but it also becomes a worker on their side. So you would think that there is a direct integration between the recruiting model and HR, for example. But actually, on the technical level, it works differently because it's actually two integrations. There is one out-of-the-box integration between finance and operations and the CDM tables. The CDM tables are tables, dual write tables, which are made available by Microsoft if you switch on the dual write. And those are located in the Dataverse itself. So what Microsoft is doing, they make workers, department, job positions, etc., available in the CDM entities in the Dataverse. And we are, with our integration, grabbing it from the CDM or from the Dataverse tables, the CDM entities, and we are synchronizing with them. So actually, there is a two-step integration. One to Dataverse from us, and one from Dataverse to finance and operation, especially to D365 HR. Okay, so all the records exist 3 times, if you say so. On the Power Platform itself, in the Dataverse, in the CDM tables, and on F&O, special in the D365 HR environment. There is no direct link between finance and operations and the CDM tables. You can see the GUI ID so that you are capable on finding the record on the other side. But till today, till Rollup 36, we handled everything in here with plugins. So if a worker was created in the CDM entity, we ran a plugin and created an employee out of it. But there was no physical relationship between both of them. So you couldn't actually tell which worker was belonging to which CDM without not going to any troubles. Also, especially when it came to absences, Microsoft is publishing for every absences that they have a daily absence into the CDM, and they can update it. And then they are potentially, because they are not updating in the CDM, the same records, like for our end, that they would create the leave, which is from yesterday till tomorrow, 1 leave. They will create 3 days of leave, so 3 records. And if they are updating 1 day of it, saying tomorrow I want to have time off, instead of 8 hours, 5 hours, they would not update the record of tomorrow, but they would create a second record with 5 hours. So then our solution or plugin recognized, hey, this is an update on this one record. Potentially, how did it recognize it? Because it was the same day, same employee, we prevent this. The problem which we have faced is, if this update, for example, happened very fast, and this is just an example with a leaf because this is a lot where we have a lot of problems. If, for example, the leave is created in D365 HR, approved, and immediately, a few seconds, minutes later, updated because the end user did a mistake in there, it was possible that this integration created both records at the same time, which led to that our plugins weren't able to identify that this is actually the same leave request which was updated. Second issue is employees. We were, as of now, not able to handle rehires in D365 HR. Why? Because we were not able, from the employment which came over into the CDM entity, to identify that this is actually a new employment for an employee record on our end, which was deactivated before. And this is now solved by creating a physical relationship. What do I mean? Let's take a look in the system there. How do I do this? I'm creating now manually an employee, and this is, by the way, test system which is integrated to D365 HR. We don't need to go into D365 HR for what I like to show you in here, because we are only caring about the integration to the CDM entity. So the first step. And you're now seeing that behind here, there's already a record, which already a tab, which is called D365 HR. This is not available in standard, only if you import our add-on solution to make this integration available. The add-on solution is available directly in the customer center. Yeah? So in here, you see now we have the HR worker GUI ID, the D365 HR worker ID, we have the personal details GUI ID, personal details worker, and the worker address GUI ID. Because connected to our employee record, we are having actually 3 different entities or tables connected on the CDM. So what I'm doing now is I'm creating, you went for Bruce Wayne, then I'm going for Clark Kent. Let's do DC this time. Okay, Clark Kent, of course, has a mail address at the Daily Planet. And let's choose a start date. So what I'm doing right now, I'm filling only the fields which are necessary in there. Let's say we do an April's Fool, because Clark Kent would never work for us, and hit save. So
HR.
Yeah, thank you. There was one missing. There you go, and let's hit save. So what is happening in the background? In the background, we created an employee, but we're creating actually three records in 3 different tables in the CDM tables. And now, if I'm going back here on the D365 HR, and let's hit refresh. I love it. So, as you saw, it takes a while. It's a background process. We are now having the direct links really look up to the CDM entities and how they are look like. So I can click on them and I see directly the CDM entities. Yeah. So if I've felt more, this is directly connected now. And this is what we are delivering also to D365 HR. So you can see what has been delivered, what is part of the mapping. And so we added, I did it now as an example for the employee, but we added this everywhere we have a valid mapping. So you can see now a D365 HR tab, if you imported our add-on solution, also on leave request, employment contract, position assignment, employee is doubled in here, the position, the job profiles, the department, the absence type setting, and the leave request is double in there as well. Yeah, because there are multiple. Okay. So this functionality helps us for creating a better stability It helps us to improve bug fixing and automation as possible. And what I mentioned in the beginning, we are now capable on finding the right record for rehiring processes, which we haven't been in the past. When a new hire came in D365 HR, we actually created a new employee on our end as well. And now the new employment contract can be connected to the right end. So that was a bit more technical. So let's go on to the next more technical thing. The DataFox integration. The DataFox integration, as you all know, is one of our suppliers for time clocks. So to punch in attendances or not. The other one is dormakaba. The DataFox terminals have one good thing because they are working without having to be connected to the intranet immediately. They can be connected once a day, and then they are synchronizing everything. But the DataFox terminal has one small disadvantage, and the disadvantage is that they are working with actually physical clocks, and they're quartz clocks. So they're having like a normal hand watch, they have that inside. So depending on temperature, depending on which side of the moon we are, or depending on for example, time changes. They could go wrong after a few weeks for a minute or two. And of course, customer came in and start, hey, this is not right. Why do I punch in at 9 o'clock, but in the system, you are showing us that I punched in at 9:02. Okay. Then what we did there is now we added an option that the first person, or that every time you punch in, we are triggering a functionality of DataFox, which is synchronizing with Azure the time. So now everything or the clock will be reset to the right time of Azure every time someone is punching in. Small improvements for customers who are using that right now and recognize that it's a few minutes off. And then we have a few minor improvements, I would say, but actually big for you is we now have enabled the show all records. Actually, we replaced the show all records to see assigned records, where I can tell you in a few, and renaming view in leave entitlements offset related. So where can we find this? I'm going back to an employee. And let's choose a different employee in order to show you that. Let's go for Max Mustermann, because I've been there before. Same system. Okay. So, especially in leave management, in the past you had different options when you went. Let's maybe go for Paul Morrison. In the past, when you said, oh, I have too many leave requests in here, for example, 18, like for Paul Morrison, in the past, you had the option to see all records. And then you clicked on this and you saw all records of the company who could be potential leave requests, not associated with Paul Morrison. What we did, everywhere on the digital personal file, you now no longer have the see all records. You have now the see associated record button included. And again, small improvement, but you are now only see all connected leave requests of Paul Morrison. The other thing which we changed is, and we discussed that a lot internally and externally with customers, was the introduction of the offset functionality and what do we want to make available or visible for the customers. You all know the offset calculation now, and it is now on the view. We decided to show them, and also we decided to show remaining again, to not only have it here in total, but if you have multiple leave entitlements, you are now can do the full calculation, which is entitlement minus taken plus minus offset will be remaining. And so we believe that employees will understand that better, because if they are seeing multiple of the leave entitlement records, they are now capable on adding the offset up and see, hey, yeah, that fits actually. I have +2 on the one and -2 on the other. So actually they are calculated against each other, but the remaining is always correct in there. Right. And a small hint, no news for you, but previous, the work patterns have been an add-on solution from Rollup 36. They become our standard, which does not mean that you have to work to use work patterns always, but when creating a new contract or employment term, let's open the employment term. You now have the option to always choose if you either want to use the working hours tab, where you can fill in from Sunday to Saturday, how many hours you work, or you could also tick the enable work patterns, and then the work hours will change. I have to save it first. Let's save this first. The work hours will change and the work pattern will appear. Yeah, let's save it. So there you have the D365 HR tab. And then work patterns will show. So this is now part of our standard solution and no longer part of an add-on solution. We have always requests, and then we had the problem that if you have to add or add to the standards, have to import the add-on solution and publish it, that your customizations might have been gone. So what we did is we moved it to the standard solution. Not part of the standard solution for legacy reasons right now are the time accounts. That's why we're asking if you are importing our solution to any customer system, please use the time account add-on solution, especially for new customers, that they get used to it directly, because this will be part of our standard solution as well, and therefore you don't get legacy problems, especially when you start with new systems there. All right, and my favorite part of this is always reading out the highlights of bugs resolved. You see highlights of bugs, of course. Those are the biggest bugs which we solved. They are not highlights, but it's good that we solved them, and that is a highlight in itself. The calculation of hours in an absence with bank holiday is wrong. Yeah, we had a problem that there was a bank holiday in the middle, and unfortunately the absence was calculated wrong in certain conditions, not always, but in certain conditions, solved it in there. We had a case where the attended hours weren't updated and were null instead of 0. And of course, this led that the overtime wasn't calculated properly. The carried forward for overtime does not work in offset is missing. That is something we fixed. And in here, I like to encourage you to use time accounts as well, because it will get down the number of leave entitlement of type overtime down drastically. For example, if you are using time accounts on a weekly base, you can have a maximum of 52 leave entitlements. If you are not using the time accounts in there, you will end up with at least 365 records. Each employee on the overtime record, I wouldn't suggest. Of course, that takes longer time to process, etc. So let's use time account instead. And we had a case where I think it was based on the language that the license assignment was actually empty after the usage of the package deployer. This is no longer the case. The package deployer was updated in there, and now the license assignment will be present there. And we had, and some of you might saw it, that we have start date attribute name of undefined was a small fix on the absence calendar, which we did there. Error when carry forward holidays to the PSA calendar. We had an error with public holidays, or no, actually vacations to the PSA calendar. This is fixed with importing Rollup 36 as well. The JavaScript error on employee and supervisor's form in leave request when you had actually customization on the form and didn't work. This is now not a problem. The JavaScript should be fine even with your customizations in. We have team shifts are not shown in the daily summary. This is now fixed as well. So if you are using our Teams shifts integration, they are now also be able to be shown on the daily summaries. The error message when publishing vacancy via the Bundesagentur für Arbeit, there have been multiple in there and they are all solved. I'm aware that there is still one case with a BFA, but this is not related to this. So biggest issues are solved there. We have a stabilization of prevent overbooking logic. So you know that with Rollup 33, we introduced a feature that we can prevent based on the absence type settings, the overbooking of a leave entitlement. So if you have only 5 leave entitlements of vacation left and you want to go on vacation for 6 days, actually we are preventing this. This was a problem where we had the self-approval enabled, introduced in Rollup 35. And now we actually made sure that even the self-approval is not possible if you're not having sufficient leave entitlements. System doesn't assign owner of child workflows. This is mainly a problem of a 2-minute timeout. We streamlined the plugins in there, so we have less 2-minute timeouts and solved it therefore. And we had another error message in the absence calendar solved. HR for Dynamics user cannot be deactivated. Yes. This is that you are, if you have processes assigned to a user and you deactivate the user, you will actually have the problem that the processes which are run based on the user level will no longer work. Therefore, we now prevent this. Summary page does not show actual number of applications in the system. The summary page, or either the interactive dashboard, is now showing this. And the employee cannot see leave entitlement was a problem on the security role, which is now fixed as well. All right. Whew. A lot of tickets there. And those are only the highlights. Which brings me to the biggest point. Thank you to our R&D department and the product management department for doing tremendous work since Rollup 35. I know it's not easy. And this is a lot of work, creating actually not one integration, but working on 3 portal, Broadbean, and ours while fixing a lot of bugs. That is really, really great. Thank you, guys. Thank you to product management and development. But that brings me also to the next point. The process of publishing Rollup 36 is not done yet. We like you, the partners, but also you as employees to help us testing the Rollup to really get it stable and to improve Rollup 36 as long as it is in the development phase. So please download it via the portal. Please, partners, you can't download it there any longer. The new place is inside the partner portal in Teams, on the Teams channel. Please import it directly to a test system. You can import it to test system of customers as well. Please do not import it to the production environment, because this is right now just a release candidate. very far in development, but it might not be the latest one, which actually will be published as a production. And this will depend on the feedback which we are getting from you. If you see any errors, mistakes, please, on Rollup 36, please use the email address rolluptickets@hubdrive.com to give us feedback. You have any product idea, please directly forward them to productideas@hubdrive.com. Before asking you to ask any questions, let me thank Bharat for it. It was the first time helping me out with introducing a new Rollup. I think he did great. Thank you, Bharat,
Thank you.
for helping it. And now over to you. Any questions so far? Anything which we should show again? Please.
Okay, you have to take the opportunity on how the partners can reach out to us in the next days, next weeks, about any technical questions.
Yes, please reach out to your partner managers directly, and use alliance partner channels on implementation services inside the teams. That's the fastest. If we could get the conversation running in there, that would be really great. Also, please. Yeah, go ahead, Armin.
Sorry. So just real quick, maybe I don't know, I didn't give so much attention in the last few minutes, but have you talked about the licensing model for the Broadbean connection? So is there something, is there maybe a partnership framework or something which you have set up with Broadbean?
Yes, there is one partnership framework set up with Broadbean, but we do not have the final answer or numbers yet. But we are having a partnership agreement. We will sell Broadbean with from us, but there's also a consultation service from Broadbean connected to it, because setting up Broadbean on the Broadbean side is not that easy, because they give you consulting to your customers actually which job portals to focus most, because it's most or best beneficial to your customers as well. This will be included in there. And as soon as we have more details on this, we will publish that to the partner network as well, especially to the office hours. Maybe we can tell you more already on the 28th when we are doing the webinar.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
One thing is, in preparation for this for the setup, I also had to install a flow. So this is for the image, the portal image that it shows on the portal. To test this, you need to have 36 version along with the flow solution. Holger, this will be available to them from the partner portal, right? Whatever they require for the installation.
Correct. Everything will be available to you on the portal. Okay, as of now. Okay, so thank you, everyone, and looking forward to meet you in the next sessions where we introduce Rollup 37 to you, or in one of our other meetings. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.